Welcome back to Continuing Shelby Fruit. This is part 3. And look, it's potentially our dad. I'm just assuming it's our dad. It's a silhouette. We'll see if I'm right. Time will only tell. So without further ado, let's get into it. MQ, your intel was right. He lives alone. The whole thing about being a devoted husband is a big fat lie. That kind of looks like Owen. I'm glad you could confirm it, but what's this MQ thing? It's a code name after all. We don't know if our conversation is being intercepted. Uh-huh. So what should I call you then? Let's see, you can call me 007. Not that it means anything, but it sounds super cool. Like a proper spy movie. Right, so what about the other thing? Oh, that? I saw the magazine with editor. He was totally single. But no dice. They said of that proof they're not interested. But we'll get that proof and spread it across the world. Easier said than done, though. Let's go see Sam. We can people. Okay, but like, all you're gonna find is that he's actually married. So I mean, it is a security company, after all. It looks like he's hired on a few others as well. I guess I shouldn't expect it to be easy to expose the deepest, darkest secrets of presidents of super companies. I'm gonna say, though, I don't think the other person's Owen, because Owens already knows that he's not married. Owen's known that he's not, so... But I will expose that smug, young upstart. And what about you? Got any bright ideas? As a matter of fact, I do have one. Just leave it to me. Maybe these are just random silhouettes they used. But I feel like they're purposeful. At least in my experience, silhouettes are purposeful. A few days after the second dinner party, I was with Mr. Snell, who was driving us to work. Our morning schedule had somehow miraculously started to line up. Aww, I'm so makes me happy. Being able to drive to work is so much more complicated than taking the subway. I had always taken the subway up till now, so this was a totally new feeling to me. Oh, there's a new cafe over there, and that restaurant looks really tasty. Is it really that much fun to stare out the window of the car? He must have noticed the sparkle in my eye as I gazed outside. He let out a small giggle. It really is. I almost never get to ride in cars like this, so I'm having a blast. Oh, the cap looks so nice. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Anyway, how's your competition entry coming along? I actually finished it. Today is the deadline, so I'm planning to submit it first thing this morning. I see. I can't wait to see how it turned out. Thanks! I'm sure it's gonna be awesome, because she's the one who did it. The scenery continued to change gradually until we finally got to 7th Ave and Chief Corporation Headquarters. Mr. Still suddenly spoke up as if something had just occurred to him. By the way, I talked to Owen about hiring another secretary. I think we found a good candidate, and he'll be starting today. Oh, really? Indeed, your advice really was invaluable. Actually, you might want to go say hello. The two of you have already met, after all. Who is it? Is it Gil? Here's our newest secretary, Peter. What? It's Peter? I wouldn't have thought that it was Peter. You can call me Peter. It's nice to see you again. Peter is the new secretary, the guy who didn't know when the camera was up? Oh, don't worry about that. I almost never get it wrong anymore. They really worked me hard at the TV station. Peter looked extremely proud of himself as he held out his hand to me. I reluctantly shook it and just stared at him to make sure it was really the same Peter. He was the assistant director when we shot the Parasite House, but he always talked during the broadcast, held the camera upside down, and all kinds of silly stuff. But he did make his way all the way up to assistant director, so he must know what he's doing. He also graduated from Harvard. Just like me. I talked to an old classmate, and he said Peter was looking for a career change. Normally, I'd ask Owen to show him around, but he's off today. Would you mind giving him a little tour of the office? I don't have any interviews or anything today, just a little paperwork to sort out. I already submitted my competition entry, so I really didn't have anything important to do. Sure, it would be my pleasure. I appreciate it. Then I'll let you take it from here. Upon hearing my answer, Mr. Snow sat down at his desk and got straight to work. Seeing that the president was already absorbed in his duties, Peter immediately turned to me. So, as I understand it, my job is to lighten his load a bit to make things go smoother for him. Okay, but Peter from that angle looks really good, not gonna lie. That's right, so you'll need to learn exactly how things work at Cooper's Court. Well, I've got a photographic memory, so that shouldn't be a problem. He nodded confidently and walked off without prompting. I quickly followed after him. He had plenty of self-confidence. That much was clear. Well, that's not inherently a bad thing. But... So this is the main office, yes? And that's the interview room, I assume? And this is that, what do you call it? The workshop suite, where you bring in instructors and things like that? And this must be the wedding hall. Obviously, this is my first time here, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. Peter really did seem to have a perfect grasp of the layout of the office without me having to tell him anything. Wow, did he go to our website and research everything ahead of time or something? Our interview room, wedding hall, and workshop suite were all listed on our website, so maybe he checked it out beforehand. He seemed to be a pretty dedicated, earnest person at heart. I started to think maybe my fear was unfounded. Meanwhile, Peter was back on the move. I felt like he didn't even need me there to guide him. Just quick as lightning. Well, that's pretty much everything. Do you have any questions? Nothing comes to mind, although I am getting a bit thirsty. Oh, well, you can go. The drink counter is that way, right? Okay, I'm off. He took off without even waiting for me to show him the way. That area was where we provided tea and coffee for our members. Wait, I don't think I told him about that area. How did he know about it? The drink corner was most definitely not listed on our website. Could he actually be a Cupid Corp member? But our members never went over there. Advisors would always bring them their drinks, so he shouldn't have known where it was, and yet he headed to the direction without hesitation, and now he was returning with 2 cups of coffee. Care for some coffee? Thank you. He looked proud as ever as he handed it to me. He then quickly turned towards the nearby interview room. Why don't we take a seat in the interview room there and rest for a bit? We don't usually take breaks on a whim. Our interview rooms are reserved for members. And how did you know about... You must be the new secretary I heard about. Huh? New secretary? What are you talking about? A couple of coworkers noticed Peter standing there and quickly crowded around him. Well, yeah, I am a new secretary, so I guess that's me. I knew it! You used to work at Lost Earth TV, right? Those are pretty amazing, so what the heck are you doing here? What? Lost Earth TV? What a huge corporation! Why on earth would you leave a place like that? To be honest, I'm just interested in this company. Well, we are the biggest company in our industry, but that's still a pretty big jump. So, Peter, are you single? If you'd like, I can... Wow, Peter is totally surrounded. Normally, the president and secretary would never come down to this floor, so naturally everyone's serious now. And even I had seen it. Peter was pretty cute. I remember him getting chased during the Parasite House barbecue, too. What? Peter, you graduated from Harvard University? That's one of the best schools in the country. Didn't Mr. Snow graduate from Harvard, too? Is that how you know him? Oh, well, I like his belt. Like, I don't love, everything about his fashion choice, but I like that color on him, like the shirt and with the gold stripes. And I like his belt underneath, the white corded one. It's really nice. All this questioning from the two women was causing him to stutter. I decided it was about time for me to step in. Glossary TV and Harvard University. I had no idea those places were considered so amazing. It was moments like these that made me realize just how much I still had to learn about the world. To me, Harvard was just some random college on 8th Ave, and Lost York TV was just a channel I watched with Clarice sometimes. I knew it was a proper corporation and everything, but I didn't know people would get so excited about it. But if he did come from a good school and a big company, maybe he really could help lighten the system blood. That'd be really nice, actually. Speaking of nice, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell so you stay up to date on all this buggalicious content that I post. If he was able to get a little more time for himself, maybe we could actually have a meal together once in a while. That would be nice, and it would help us appear like a married couple. But he still never comes home on time. Mr. Snow was just as much of a workaholic as ever. He still stayed late at work and never took days off. I stood there stewing about it with arms folded and cheeks puffed out. What reason was there for me to be in this house? He's never home on time, and he's always working late, and we can't eat dinner together, and all he cares about is work. He doesn't care about me. How can he not care about me? I'm adorable. I'm a cute little thing. What happened to our mission of living a normal married life? All I ever did was play my part during our occasional dinner parties with his business clients. I had no clue if me living here was helping to throw off whoever was hunting Mr. Snow's secret. And he still refused to eat breakfast with me. Even with Peter there, his work hours stayed the same. He just drank his jelly drink and slept as little as possible every day. Leave before I wake up. Get home after I go to bed. The truth was, I'd never seen him sleep for myself. All he eats is his vitamin supplements, protein shakes, and jelly drinks. I feel like that can't be good for him in the long run. Probably not, actually. He would insist that he did eat proper meals when he went out for his business dinners and things like that, and he seemed to think he could do even more work now that he had a second secretary. Of course the company's performance was important, but I just wish he was willing to enjoy a little time off. He still goes swimming at the pool to keep fit, of course. I had the distant impression that something was off with him. Even on the rare days off, he'd still meet with clients. He completely refuses to play the devoted husband role. The first chance I get, I need to explain to him that if he wants people to believe his lie, he needs to spend more time at home. That was all on my mind as I was preparing dinner. I was used to living here by now, so I knew my way around the kitchen. But if that's what I want from him, then I need to play the role of the perfect wife in return. Of course, I'd never been married or even fallen in love, so it was hard for me to say what a perfect partner looks like. Maybe I should watch some movies about married life instead of the ones about dating. Look, movies are unrealistic. I wouldn't recommend getting your advice from movies. I thought that might help me figure out how a husband and wife should actually act. I moved around the kitchen with that in mind. A few days later, that night was Peter's welcome party. Everyone on our floor was eager to drink with him, so they'd excitedly put it all together. Cheers! So tell us, Peter, what's it like being Mr. Snow's secretary? It must be really tough, right? He's so serious about everything and all. And how about Owen? Are the two of you getting along? Well, he's so popular. He's totally surrounded again. I was sitting at a table away from the action, nursing a drink and watching them from afar. Normally at these kinds of events, Clarice and I would be drinking together, but this time I was alone. Clarice had already gone home, saying she didn't feel very well. Oh no, I would text her, check up on her. It's so unlike her. Clarice usually loves social events like this. I happened to notice Owen standing in the middle of the group as well. He had the same serious look as ever, and just nodded and gave simple answers to each question. It was pretty obvious that neither of them were particularly comfortable being surrounded by women. The truth is, Owen and Peter were both considered two of the most eligible bachelors in the company. I still think we should have ended up dating Owen instead of Shelby, but hey, it's okay. That's all the company rumor mill was talking about these days. So they're both really popular husband candidates, huh? Of course, if anyone named Mr. Snell was single, he'd definitely be on that list too. He's got looks, social standing, and a healthy annual income. His one major flaw was his need to constantly working. Yeah, that'd be really hard. Although some members actually prefer guys like that. I'd rather couples enjoy each other's company, but people want what they want, and some girls didn't want their husbands home all the time. I don't know, I would like to spend time with my husband if I was married, definitely. He'd be in serious demand, but since he can't reveal where he works, he can't take advantage of that. Just that one secret is enough to throw a wrench into the whole world. If he could show up to dates in person, I'm sure he'd have much more success, but he absolutely refuses. What if he put on like a wig and colored contacts? Hello there, enjoying your drink? Owen had slipped away from the crowd and was now standing next to me. Oh, hello, yeah, I suppose so. So how's work been for you? Have things gotten better having Peter around? Yes, very much. He's taken a huge load off my shoulders. I'm consistently surprised at how quickly he gets things done. I glanced back at Peter, who was still clearly in agony. I remember that he'd mentioned that he wasn't really good with women at some point. So anyway, aren't you planning to go up to him as well? Well, I wasn't really sure what he was trying to say. He just smiled back at me. He's a bit odd, you know. He just started here, but he seems to know where to find every last thing in the office. Oh yeah, when I was showing him around on the first day, he seemed to know all kinds of stuff without me telling him. Is that right? How strange. The other day, I caught him just standing there, staring at the shredder. Owen sighed and glanced at Peter. His gaze seemed to reveal a touch of suspicion. Without warning, he mumbled under his breath. I hope he's not some kind of industrial spy or something. He said it so quietly, it was like he'd forgotten I was there and was talking to himself. His ominous mumblings cast a shadow over my own mind, too. Also, where's Chi? I miss Chi. I'm home. After the welcome party was over, everyone wanted to head off somewhere for round 2. I politely declined and headed home. It's pretty late. I wonder if Mr. Snell is back yet. Probably not. I opened the door to the bedroom and saw him lying there fast asleep. Ah, good. He's actually getting some rest. I'd never seen him sleep before, so it was nice to see that was something he actually did. I wanted to take a bath, but I'll have to make sure I'm quiet so I don't wake him up. As I left the room, I figured I'd take my bath and then pass right out. But a little later... Oh, you're back. After getting out of the bath, I saw Mrs. Snell standing there wearing a full suit. I'm sorry, did I wake you up? Yeah. No, not at all. I already had an alarm set, so you don't need to worry. But it's 12:30 in the morning. No. Yes, I managed to get home early today and decided to take a nap. Now I'm heading back to the office. Dude! I know you have trouble sleeping, but this is unhealthy. Looking at his watch, Mr. Snell turned and prepared to leave, but before he could, I grabbed his shoulder firmly from behind. Please wait. What is it? Even though it's just an act, we're supposed to be husband and wife right now, right? Well, I'm not sure I would put it that way exactly, but when we have those dinner parties, it's meant to look like we're married, right? Yes, I suppose, and you've been very helpful in those instances. And we don't know when we might get exposed. We should spend as much time as we can to make it seem like we really have a life. What do you mean? A truly devoted husband wouldn't run off to work in the middle of the night and completely ignore his wife like this. Mr. Snell frowned. It felt like he was trying to hold something back. The entire reason I remained single up till now is because I didn't want to have to do things like this. I understand. In that case, it would be best if we removed you from our company's membership. What are you talking? You can't expect to ever get married with such a selfish way of thinking. I folded my arms across my chest, looking straight into his eyes. I knew how brazen I was being, but I felt it needed saying. If you really do want to get married, you need to show a little bit of effort. Compromise is a necessary part of marriage. Sure, you're officially still registered as a member, which means you do intend on getting married, is that correct? Of course. And I've been searching every day for someone who can keep a secret and support a husband she knows she'll never get to see. But that woman just doesn't exist, and if she does, she's not interested in marriage. You're demanding a life without a husband. Yes, you're completely right. So all you can do is find a wife who knows about your circumstances and is still willing to help. Do you know anyone like that? No, I don't. Right, then your only option is to have me keep on pretending to be your wife instead. But one person alone can't do things that a husband and wife should do together. I can't keep up this act all by myself. Husband and wife? Remember the dinner party the other day? They said we didn't act like we'd been married for 4 years. For that second dinner, Mr. Snail, I hadn't really talked for quite a while, so our conversation was really slighted. Oh no. Disaster in paradise. Good heavens, your wife is quite reserved, isn't she? I think maybe you need to give her a little more attention, Shelby. I find her innocence charming. Even for 4 years, they act like shy newlyweds. Frankly, I'm a little jealous. I'm sure you're much closer when you're alone, right, Shelby? I mean, we're all familiar with the reputation of yours. At the time, I hid behind Mr. Snell, pretending to be bashful. In fact, I was breaking out in a cold sweat. It was crucial that we start acting more like a close couple, specifically because of the reputation he made for himself. But knowing him, I'm sure it's difficult for him to close that gap. That was undoubtedly the source of all this awkwardness. I was sure I'd messed something up that night. I was clearly treating you like my employer instead of my husband. If we want to play our roles properly, it would be best if we could make time to talk to each other. What do you think? Yeah. You're right, of course. You're the one doing me this huge favor, and I've been completely selfish. I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize. I accept that this is part of my job. I was nervous about saying all that, but I'm glad I did. Part of your job, yes, that much is certainly true. So for some reason, he suddenly looked happy. I guess thinking about the whole thing as work might have changed his perspective on it. Alright then, let me think. How about we have breakfast together from now on? I'll even cook. Huh? You can cook? Why are you so surprised? I used to cook for myself every day back in college. There's nothing to worry about there. Who wouldn't be surprised? I've never seen him do anything close to cooking. I couldn't even imagine it. But if he'd been cooking since college, I figured it would probably be fine. A husband that can cook for his wife would definitely earn the title of devoted. I nodded at him, deciding it was best to go along with his plan. Great, then let's do that. We'll eat breakfast together every morning, my husband. You really don't have to call me that. I like that he blushes. His blush is really cute. That was the kind of exchange real newlyweds should have. I decided we should get through this awkward phase as fast as possible. But it's not like we can start going on dates or anything. If anyone saw us, it'd make it harder for him to find a real life. This is a pretty tough challenge. Anyway, let's implement the breakfast plan sharing tomorrow. I'll add it to my schedule. He checked his watch again, then took out his phone to update his to-do list. Breakfast as a job duty. Speaking of which, other than the one time at the pool, I'd never really seen Mr. Snell set up his work environment. Also, our mission aside, why don't you try and take some time off to relax? You did just hire another secretary after all. It didn't have to be with me, of course. I just wanted him to spend some time on himself. But he just stared at me curiously. I do have more time thanks to my new secretary, but I need to use that time to keep growing the company. But doesn't it even occur to you to use your extra time to, rest and take it easy for a bit? What do I gain from resting? Taking it easy never created anything. No, it doesn't create anything, but don't you ever feel like watching a movie or going shopping? Stuff like that? Stuff like that. He repeated what I'd said as if the entire concept was completely alien to him. He placed his hand on his chin and frowned. He turned his head from side to side. I can't really think of anything. If I had to pick something, I'd want to reach even greater heights to protect my status. There he goes again with that obsession of his. The prestige parasite. I felt like I was witnessing the return of Monsieur. I've always wondered, why do you care so much about status and prestige and all of that? What an odd question. A man is nothing without his prestige. The way he said it was so matter of fact. I didn't know how to respond, and I missed my chance to say anything at all. As a god, the desire to boost one's status was completely foreign to me. I saw no value in it. I guess it was different for humans. It reminded me of Peter, who found himself surrounded by women just because he had gone to Harvard and worked at Law School TV. That convinced me that Mr. Show's general outlook on the topic must have been right, at least partially. Now that I think about it, my promotion is my top priority right now too. My reason for that was so that I could prove my dad wrong, and I was taking advantage of a human social system to do it. The other gods might not understand this concept of status, but I felt like I was starting to get it. But the way he talks about prestige still sounds awesome now. It might be important, but it couldn't be everything. The loving relationship between two people working together to realize the life of joy they want to live together. Ultimately, prestige and status couldn't be that important. I'd seen so many couples from Celestia, I know that much. Even now, I'm hardly doing the bare minimum. I need to in order to achieve that. I won't stop until I've perfected it. Oh, goodness. Take a break! I'm still not putting in nearly enough effort, so I refuse to be satisfied. I'll never become a proper man this way. Oh, yeah, no. What? You're not putting in enough effort. Do you seriously believe that? Of course, the company is still in its infancy. We might be at the top of the industry for now, but that's not enough. I have to utilize every possible business opportunity to become the undisputed best in Lost Org and eventually the entire nation. He's got a grand vision, that's for sure. If he wants to become a corporation big enough to enter the national stage, that will probably take even more work. But I definitely don't think this effort is lacking. As an individual, I just want him to take better care of himself. I think I understand how you feel, but when do you reach the top, then what? Is there something specific he wants to do once he gets there? But when I asked him that question, he stared at me for a second, frowned, and then his gaze wavered. Once I reach the top, then I suppose I can finally call myself a real man. I think you're a real man already, and a wonderful one at that. Impossible. I'm not even close. After all, I haven't found a partner, which means my status isn't enough to satisfy them yet. No, I don't think that's it. The reason you haven't found a wife isn't because of some abstract idea of status. But what about 4 years ago, when everyone knew I was single? Still, not one single woman approached me. With a self-deprecating smile on his lips, he picked up his work bag. It was clear the conversation was over. No! No, wait, I'm off. Why don't we schedule breakfast at 7 a.m.? Okay, that should work for me. Excellent. That's so sad that that's how he sees himself. With a curt reply, he was gone. In the end, he still chose work over everything else. I looked at the clock. Going into work at this hour was weird no matter how you looked at it. He really was a prestige parasite. I'd heard the phrase work-life balance a lot in human media, and it always made me think of Mr. Snail. If you're that happy with your personal life, your work gets better. If you're happy with your work, the personal life gets better. Your life and your job should act like two wheels working together. That outlook definitely makes sense to me. You can't just spin one wheel endlessly. You need to balance them out so that you can travel further and longer. The wheel metaphor was the first way I'd heard it, but it's also like flying. You can't take flight with just one wing. Of course, if this was really what made him happy, it wasn't my place to say anything. I couldn't deny that I liked working too, but the idea that he needs to keep working harder is just his assumption. Meanwhile, he's letting his personal life rot away. The prestige parasite, I think this particular problem comes specifically deep. I don't know what he was like when he was younger, but I found it hard to believe he's always been this way. I decided that I should try to get to the bottom of why he was so fixated on prestige and status next time I got the chance. For now, though, it was time for bed. It had been a long night of drinking and socializing, and I was completely beat. I was sure Chi was here to give me one of his incredible massages. Chi had been disappearing at random pretty often lately. He was pretty shy, so maybe he didn't like me living with Mr. Snail. I resolved to pay him some extra attention next time I saw him, then headed to my room to get some sleep. Speaking of things, if you like this content, make sure to click that like button down below and leave a comment. And with that, we're going to wrap this episode up, and we will continue on in the next episode Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I greatly appreciate it. As always, remember to get some food, get some sleep, and drink some water, because you are important and so is your health.